Hi. So today I want to talk a little bit about a book that I just read, a book called Rumo, and this is it, Rumo. Uh, it's a book I did not know existed until like a couple months ago. I was at the library, just browsing around, and I came across it. It piqued my curiosity. I took it off the shelf, looked at it, read the first couple pages, and I thought this looks like a book that would be fun to read. I didn't check it out at that time though. I checked it out more recently and read it, and I quite enjoyed it. Uh, it's written by Walter Moors. It was originally written in German. He's German. It was published in Germany uh, in 2003, and this first edition first published in the United States in 2006. So it's a relatively recent book, as far as I'm concerned. In the 2000s are recent. Um, but it's a fantasy book. It's set in the fictional world of Zamonia. Z-O-M, um, Z-O-M, Z-A-M-O-N-I-A. The main character, of course, is Rumo, who is a Wolperting, or probably Wolperting is the way that its author would pronounce it, since Germans pronounce that as a V. It's Wolperting, Wolperting or Wolperting. And he's basically a dog, but a dog Wolpertings are kind of like dogs, but they can walk on their hind legs. They can talk. They've got little horns on their head. They can use their paws like hands, and they're really good at fighting. They're ninja dogs type of thing. And the story starts when Rumo is a pup. He's on a farm, and being quite pampered as pups and little baby things tend to be. But the day this starts on, he's beginning to teeth, and just learning that he can walk on his hind legs. And on that day, he and everyone around him are kidnapped by these creatures called demonicals, which are one-eyed creatures that, their whole thing is eating things alive. That seems like to be their whole thing. It's just that's what they live for, is eating things while they're screaming. And they live on a place called Roaming Rock, which is an island which just roams around, just floats around. And whenever that island hits up against the bank of some other place, they go onto that other place and kidnap more food. So Rumo's on Roaming Rock. He meets another character called Smike, who is a shark grub. Combination of kind of a combination of a shark and a slug and a centipede or something. He's a unique character. Never quite got a full handle on what he looked like, but he's a good character, cool character. And eventually they get off of Roaming Rock, have some adventures together. Then they part their ways. Then Rumo finds his way to a whole city populated by Wolpertings, his own kind, and he finds it by following the silver thread. And the silver thread is basically the visual scent of his mate, the female of his species that he's destined to mate with, if everything goes okay. Sometimes things don't go right, but that's his destined mate. So he's following the scent of love. And so he finds his way to that city. He has various experiences in that city, and then events conspire so that he eventually goes into the netherworld. And that's enough without spoiling anything. But don't want to go into too much detail. I want you to discover it for yourself. And this book is divided into two parts. It's divided into the overworld and the netherworld, which is exactly what it sounds like. And It's kind of, let's see here. Where is, let me show you yeah. So, um, this is the overworld section. This is the netherworld section. So the overworld section is, it's a little bit longer than the underworld section. And when I was first reading in the first third or half of the novel, I would have described it as not really having a plot per se, because it's not one of those where not one of those stories where it sets up a definite goal to be achieved by the end or a conflict to be resolved by the end. It's not that kind of story. It's a series of adventures. But those adventures do eventually start to come together into an exciting climax. Son! And the last, quarter of the book, things start to really come together and start to click, and it's really exciting, really cool. I was on the edge of my seat for, for the last quarter of the book. So much stuff going on, and so much, it's like, oh, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? And how is this going to be resolved? Is this even going to be resolved? Is this even, how are they going to get out of this one? So it's a really exciting climax. The whole book is really fun. I was never bored. It's full of imagination, very imaginative book. A lot of different types of characters, a lot of backstories. It's always engaging, and just fun to hang out on Zamonia. It's also illustrated throughout by the author, who seems to be a fairly talented guy. He's let's see. It says Walter Moores was born in 1957 and is a writer, cartoonist, painter, and sculptor. So he lives in Hamburg, Germany. So anyway, show you some of the actually, that's an illustration of Smike. Right. And then let's see, there's another illustration that's from a story that Smike is telling in the history of Zamonia. Let's see here. What else we got? See, there's another Volperting that winds up being a friend to Rumo. There's some more Volpertings, or Wuppertings. Let's see here. Then that's the Copper Army, which there's the demonical. Then let's see here. There's another thing. Some more things. Anyway, where was, let's see here. Where's that guy? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's someone with a finger in this dude's ear. I'll let you find out what that is. But anyway, so it's, what else to say? The book I read right before this was Lord of the Rings, and it was my first time reading Lord of the Rings, and I loved it. It's great. And Lord of the Rings kind of ruins other books, or starts to ruin other books, because other books just don't, they're not that level, you know? They don't compare favorably. So the first like third of this book, while I was enjoying it, I was like, yeah, it ain't Lord of the Rings. It doesn't have that 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 honor, that beauty, that richness. It just doesn't have the those wonderful qualities that Lord of the Rings has, and the beautiful writing, and so I'm being a little unfair to it. But once I got more into it, I got more into it, and I left off thinking about Lord of the Rings, and I was just into the story, and enjoying it on its own terms, for its own self, and it's a ton of fun when you do that. Um, so evidently, this author has written other books, also taking place in Zamonia. I think there's 3 others that he's written that I read, that I read up online, that someone mentioned there were 4 books set in Zamonia. So I'm gonna have to look in the library to see if they have any of those. Libraries are wonderful places, you know. You go in there and you browse around, see what strikes your interest, and then you can take it home for a while for free. You know, it's great. So much stuff to discover, but and this does feel kind of like a children's book, because it does have all these creatures and adventures and this sort of thing that you would imagine children would like. I wouldn't recommend it for young children, for 6, 7, 8 years old. Not really for them. I would recommend it for ages 12 and up. So yeah, I guess that's it. So Rumo, thanks for listening. Bye.